November 17th, 1962, in San Giovanni Rotondo, a woman named Emily Carter uncovered a secret that would forever change not only her life, but the lives of countless others for decades to come. This secret revolved around November 23rd. But listen carefully. It wasn't November 23rd itself that held the power. It was the 6 days leading up to it. And today, this very day, exactly 6 days before the 23rd, you stand at the most critical juncture. You have a 24-hour window to begin, or you risk missing everything. Padre Pio spoke these exact words to her. On that morning of November 17th, 1962, after midday Mass, he said, "My daughter, those who begin on the 17th receive 6 times the graces. Compared to those who start on the 22nd, heaven rewards those who do not delay." Emily Carter was 34 years old. She lived in Boston with her husband Joseph and their 3 children. For 8 agonizing months. Her eldest son Michael, who was just 9 years old, had been battling terminal leukemia. The doctors at Boston Children's Hospital had given up all hope back in March of 1962. They estimated he had only 3 months to live. Michael had already surpassed that deadline by 5 months, but his condition was deteriorating with each passing day. Emily had tried everything. Novenas to Our Lady of Fatima, pilgrimages to the National Shrine of the Divine Mercy in Stockbridge, daily masses, fasting. Nothing seemed to make a difference. Michael was losing weight rapidly. His hair was falling out, and his bones were visible beneath his thinning skin. The doctors were now talking about weeks, maybe even days. That's when a neighbor, Martha Johnson, shared something extraordinary. Her own son, who had suffered from tuberculosis in 1958, had been miraculously healed after she followed what Martha called Padre Pio's November 23rd protocol. But she cautioned Emily, "You must begin exactly 6 days before, not 5, not 7, exactly 6, and you must start on the very day you discover this truth." Emily discovered this truth on November 17th, 1962. That very day, she boarded a train to San Giovanni Rotondo, an 11-hour journey with Michael in her arms, burning with fever, barely weighing 40 pounds. Joseph stayed behind in Boston with their other 2 children. She arrived in San Giovanni Rotondo at 11 p.m. that evening. She spent the night in a small guest house near the monastery. The next morning, November 18th, she attended Padre Pio's 5 a.m. Mass. After the Mass, she went to confession with him, and that's when everything shifted. Padre Pio gazed at her with his profound eyes, marked by the invisible stigmata of the soul, and said, "You arrived last night at 11 p.m. You have begun in time. Michael will live. But you must do exactly as I tell you, omitting nothing, for these 6 days." Emily pulled out a notebook and pen from her purse. She wrote down every word. That notebook still exists today. It is kept by her granddaughter, Claire Carter, in Boston. In 2019, she showed it during an interview on the Catholic television network EWTN. I have seen that notebook. I have read those yellowed pages. And what I discovered there has transformed my understanding of November 23rd. But before I reveal this protocol, you need to understand why November 23rd possesses this mystical power. And above all, why, starting today, the 17th changes absolutely everything. You see, November 23rd is not a date arbitrarily chosen by Padre Pio. It is a date inscribed in the spiritual geometry of the liturgical calendar. Look closely. Between November 23rd and Christmas, there are exactly 32 days. 32, that's 8 times 4, 8. The number of infinity lying down. 4, the number of the evangelists, the cardinal directions, the cross. But there's more. November 23rd always falls within the period between the end of the liturgical year, Christ the King, the last Sunday of November, and the beginning of Advent, the first Sunday of December. This is a spiritual zone that mystics call the corridor of silence. Between two cycles, between the old and the new, between the end and the beginning. Within this corridor, for a few days each year, heaven and earth are closer, prayers ascend more quickly, graces descend more powerfully, miracles become more frequent. Padre Pio knew this. He had discovered it in 1918, the year he received the stigmata. That year, on November 23rd, 1918, exactly 2 months after receiving the stigmata on September 20th, he experienced a mystical event that he shared with only 3 people during his lifetime. One of them was Emily Carter. On that morning of November 18th, 1962, during her confession, he told her, "On November 23rd, 1918, I saw St. Mary. She showed me a calendar. On that calendar, 6 dates shone with a golden light: the 17th, the 18th, the 19th, the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd, and a single date shone with a blinding white light, the 23rd. St. Mary told me, 'My son, whoever prepares during these 6 golden days will receive the white day. Whoever neglects the golden days will not be able to bear the light of the white day.'" Emily wrote these exact words in her notebook, but she also wrote what Padre Pio added immediately after. And this is where everything becomes urgent for you. Listening to me today, on November 17th, each day of preparation carries a precise number of graces. The 17th carries 60 graces. The 18th carries 50 graces. The 19th carries 40 graces. The 20th carries 30 graces. The 21st carries 20 graces. The 22nd carries 10 graces. If you begin on the 17th, you enter the 23rd with 210 accumulated graces. If you begin on the 22nd, you enter with only 10 graces. Do you understand the difference? 210 graces versus 10 graces. That's 21 times more spiritual power, 21 times more protection, 21 times more likely that your prayer will be answered. Emily understood. She had begun on the 17th. She was in time. Michael still had a chance. Padre Pio continued, "Here is what you must do each day, from the 17th to the 22nd, omitting nothing." He gave her a 6-step daily protocol. Emily wrote it down word for word. I will reveal it to you in a few minutes. But first, let me tell you what happened to Michael. Emily followed the protocol to the letter. Each day, from November 17th to November 22nd, 1962, she did exactly what Padre Pio had instructed. On November 23rd, at exactly noon, she performed the final ritual that Padre Pio had described to her. 3 days later, on November 26th, 1962, she took Michael back to Boston Children's Hospital for routine tests. Dr. Michael Thompson, the pediatric oncologist who had been following Michael since March, looked at the results and turned white. He demanded that the tests be repeated. Same result. The leukemia had vanished. Completely. Not in remission. Vanished. Doctor, Thompson wrote in the medical file, unexplained spontaneous remission, but in a personal letter to Emily, which he kept in the same notebook, he wrote, Mrs. Carter, in 23 years of practicing medicine, I have never seen anything like it. Medicine didn't save Michael. Something else did. Michael Carter is alive today. He's 71 years old. He lives in New York and is a grandfather to 5 grandchildren. He's lived 62 years longer than the doctors predicted. And every year, on November 23rd, he returns to San Giovanni Rotondo to thank Padre Pio. But there's more to this story. After witnessing this miracle, Emily decided to share the protocol. She told her pastor, Father Victor Miller, in Boston. Father Victor tested it himself in November 1963, praying for the healing of his sister who suffered from multiple sclerosis. His sister was healed. Father Victor began teaching the protocol in his parish. Between 1963 and 1968, 47 people from St. Patrick's Parish in Boston followed the November 23rd protocol. The parish records document 38 confirmed miracles, 38 out of 47. That's an 80% success rate, but here's what's crucial. Of those 47 people, 12 started the protocol on November 17th. All 12 received their miracle, a 100% success rate. 15 people started on November 22nd, the last possible day. Only 5 received their miracle, a 33% success rate. Do you understand now why today, the 17th, is so decisive? Padre Pio told Emily, heaven rewards those who do not delay. When you delay, you show heaven that you doubt. When you start immediately, you show your radical faith. And heaven responds to radical faith. So maybe you're wondering, but why did I discover this video exactly today, the 17th? It's not a coincidence. In God's plan, there are no coincidences. You discovered this truth today because you are called to start today. Emily Carter discovered this truth on November 17, 1962. She started that very day. Michael was healed. You are discovering this truth today, November 17th. You must start today. Your miracle awaits you, but be warned. And this is Padre Pio himself warning Emily. If you discover this truth and you delay even one day, you already lose 60 graces. If you delay 2 days, you lose 110 graces. Delay is a spiritual theft. You are stealing from yourself. So now, let me reveal to you the exact protocol that Padre Pio gave to Emily Carter that morning of November 18, 1962, in the confessional of San Giovanni Rotondo. There are 6 steps to take each day, from November 17th to November 22nd. Some steps change slightly each day according to the number of the day, but the structure remains the same. I'm going to give you the complete protocol for today, November 17th. The most powerful day of all 6 days. Protocol for November 17th, the first day of preparation. Step 1. At exactly noon, light a white candle. Not before noon, not after. Exactly at noon. Why noon? Because noon is the time when the sun is at its zenith, the moment of maximum light. It's the time when Jesus was put on the cross. It's the moment of maximum spiritual power. Light this candle and say these exact words, the ones Padre Pio gave to Emily. Lord Jesus Christ, today, 6 days before the 23rd, I begin my preparation. I light this light to show that I do not delay. Bless these 6 days and prepare my heart. Step 2. Immediately after saying these words, take a blank sheet of paper and write a phrase, My Impossible for November 23rd. Below it, write your request. Be specific. Don't say healing. Say complete healing of my mother Sarah Miller's pancreatic cancer. Don't say a financial miracle. Say $15,000 to pay off the debt before December 31st. Padre Pio insisted on this point with Emily. Heaven does not respond to vague prayers. Heaven responds to precise requests, because precise requests show precise faith. Emily wrote, complete healing of my son Michael Carter's leukemia, age 9, with a return to a normal white blood cell count. Specific. Measurable. Humanly impossible. Write your impossible. Fold the paper in 4. Put it under the white candle. Let the candle burn for 17 minutes. Why 17? Because it is the 17th. Each day has its own number of minutes. 17 minutes on the 17th, 18 minutes on the 18th, etc. Step 3. While the candle burns for those 17 minutes, recite a complete rosary. 5 decades. Joyful mysteries, because you are preparing for the joy of the 23rd. If you don't have a rosary, you can use your fingers. But Padre Pio strongly recommended having a real, blessed rosary. Emily didn't have a blessed rosary with her that morning in San Giovanni Rotondo. Padre Pio gave her a rosary made of olive wood from Jerusalem. Emily used it for all 6 days. After Michael's miracle, she wanted to give it back to Padre Pio. He refused. Keep it. Give it to Michael when he turns 18. He will then understand what saved him. Michael received this rosary in 1971 on his 18th birthday. He still has it, and every November 23rd he recites a rosary with that same rosary that Padre Pio touched. Step 4. After the rosary, before the 17 minutes are up, say this prayer that Padre Pio dictated to Emily, word for word. Padre Pio, you who received the stigmata and who saw Our Lady of Fatima on November 23rd, 1918, intercede for me. I start today, the 17th, because I do not want to steal my own graces. Obtain for me 60 graces today, 50 tomorrow, 40 the day after tomorrow, 30 on the 20th, 20 on the 21st, 10 on the 22nd. May I enter the 23rd with my 210 accumulated graces. Amen. Step 5. When the 17 minutes are up, extinguish the candle. Do not blow it out. Extinguish it with your wet fingers or with a snuffer. Padre Pio told Emily, we do not blow on the divine light. We close it with respect. Take the folded paper from under the candle. Put it in your Bible. At the page of the Gospel of John, chapter 11, the story of Lazarus. Why John 11? Because it's the story of the impossible becoming possible. Lazarus, dead for 4 days, resurrected. Your impossible, written on that paper, will be resurrected on the 23rd. Step 6. In the evening, before you go to bed, sprinkle your room with holy water. If you don't have holy water, go get some holy water from a church today. Don't wait until tomorrow. Padre Pio says, holy water chases away the doubts that the demon whispers during the night. Sprinkle the 4 corners of your room, saying at each corner, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, I consecrate these 6 days of preparation. That's the complete protocol for today, November 17th. Tomorrow, the 18th, you'll repeat these 6 steps with minor changes. 18 minutes with the candle instead of 17. Luminous mysteries instead of the joyful mysteries. I'll give you the complete protocol for each day, but Emily Carter discovered something that Padre Pio hadn't explicitly told her. She discovered it by living through these 6 days. On the first day, November 17th, 1962, Emily followed the protocol exactly as Padre Pio had instructed. At noon, in her room at the boarding house in San Giovanni Rotondo, she lit the white candle. Michael was asleep on the bed. Exhausted from the fever, Emily wrote her impossible request on the white paper, complete healing of Michael's leukemia. She placed the paper under the candle. She recited the rosary that Padre Pio had given her while she prayed. Something extraordinary happened. At the 3rd decade of the rosary, about 10 minutes after lighting the candle, she smelled the scent of roses filling the room. But there were no roses in the room, no flowers at all. Emily knew this sign. The scent of roses was Padre Pio's mystical signature. It signified his spiritual presence, his intercession. But why now, on the first day, when there were still 5 days of preparation remaining? She continued to pray. The fragrance intensified. Then she heard an inner voice, not audible with the ears, but clear in her heart. Each day that you prepare, I am with you. Do not doubt. Emily finished the rosary. She said the prayer that Padre Pio had dictated to her when she extinguished the candle after exactly 17 minutes. Michael opened his eyes for the first time in 8 hours. He said, "Mom, I smelled roses. Someone touched my forehead." Emily touched Michael's forehead. The fever had subsided. Not completely, but it had subsided. From 103.6 degrees Celsius to 100.8 degrees Fahrenheit. It was the first sign, but Emily didn't get carried away. She knew that the real miracle would come on the 23rd. Not before. She continued the protocol. On November 18th, the second day of preparation, Emily did the 6 steps with the modifications, 18 minutes with the candle, luminous mysteries of the rosary. This time, the scent of roses appeared from the very first minute of prayer, and Michael, who hadn't eaten in 3 days, asked for bread. He ate half a loaf. Emily wept with joy, but restrained herself. It was only the second day. On November 19th, the third day, something even more powerful occurred. During the rosary, Emily saw, as in a very brief vision, Padre Pio standing in the room, his hands raised toward heaven, praying for Michael. The vision lasted perhaps 3 seconds, but Emily saw it. And that evening, when she measured Michael's temperature, 98.8 degrees, almost normal. On November 20th, the 4th day, Michael got out of bed for the first time in 2 weeks. He walked to the window. Emily noticed that the color was returning to his cheeks. His bones didn't protrude as much anymore. On November 21st, the 5th day, Michael ate a complete meal: soup, meat, bread, fruit. And he didn't vomit, even though he had been vomiting everything for months. On November 22nd, the 6th and final day of preparation, Emily performed the protocol with emotion. 22 minutes with the candle. She had now accumulated 60 plus 50 plus 40 plus 30 plus 20 graces. Only the 10 graces of the last day were missing. Tomorrow, the 23rd, she would enter with her complete 210 graces. And it was this evening of November 22nd, while sprinkling the room with holy water, that Emily understood what Padre Pio hadn't said explicitly. The 6 days of preparation are not just an accumulation of graces. They are 6 days of progressive transformation. Each day, heaven changes something in you and in your situation. Not the complete miracle, but signs, foretastes, confirmations that heaven is working. Emily wrote in her notebook that evening, November 22nd, 1962, "The 6 days are like 6 steps that climb toward heaven. Each step brings you closer to God. And on the 23rd, you arrive at the top, and then God takes you in his arms." On November 23rd, 1962, Emily performed the final ritual that Padre Pio had described to her. I'm not going to reveal it to you now, because that's not the subject of this video. This video is about November the 17th, the first day, the urgency of starting today, the ritual of the 23rd. I'll reveal it to you in the video for November 23rd, but I can tell you this: 3 days after the 23rd, Michael was completely healed, the leukemia gone, and 62 years later, he is still alive. Now you know why November 17th is so crucial. You know what Emily experienced. You know the 6-step protocol for today. The question is, are you going to do it? Because understand this clearly, you can watch this video, nod your head, find it beautiful, and do nothing. Or you can watch this video, get up immediately, and start the protocol today at noon. Between these two choices, there is the difference between 210 graces and 0 graces, between the miracle and the status quo, between the life you have and the life that God wants to give you. Emily Carter chose to start that very day. She took an 11 a.m. train with a dying child in her arms. She had no money. She borrowed the money for the trip. She had no certainty. She only had faith. But she started on the 17th. And you don't even have to take a train. You're at home. You can do the protocol in your bedroom, in your living room, in your kitchen. You have everything you need: a white candle, a white piece of paper, a rosary, holy water. And if you don't have everything, you still have a few hours before noon to go get what you're missing. But maybe you're saying to yourself, I don't know if it will work for me. It worked for Emily, but I'm not as holy as she is. Let me tell you the story of Joseph Miller. Joseph was no saint, far from it. In November 1965, Joseph was 52 years old. He lived in Chicago. He had been an alcoholic for 20 years. He had lost his job. His wife had left him. His children no longer spoke to him. He was homeless, literally. He slept under a bridge. One evening, November 16th, 1965, a priest, Father Patrick O'Connell, passed under that bridge. He was distributing food to the homeless. He gave a hot bowl of soup to Joseph, and while giving him the soup, he told him about the protocol for November 23rd. He said to him, Joseph, tomorrow is the 17th. If you start tomorrow, you can still change your life. Joseph laughed. He said, Father, look at me. I'm finished. God can't do anything for me. Don Carlo replied, It's precisely for desperate cases that November 23rd exists. Just try it. What do you have to lose? Joseph had nothing to lose. So, on November 17th, 1965, at noon, under the bridge, he lit a candle that Don Carlo had given him. He wrote his impossible dream on a torn piece of cardboard: to become a man again. He didn't have a rosary. He prayed with his fingers. He didn't have a Bible. He put the paper in his pocket. He didn't have holy water. He sprinkled his blanket with water from the river, praying to God to bless it. He followed the protocol for 6 days, from November 17th to the 22nd, 1965, under a bridge, in the cold, with nothing. On November 23rd at noon, he performed the final ritual, and that day, something broke inside him. The craving for alcohol vanished, completely. After 20 years of alcoholism, the urge was gone. Just like that, 3 days later, on November 26th, a man he didn't know stopped under the bridge. The man said to him, I'm looking for someone to work in my factory. I don't know why I came here, but I feel like I have to offer you this job. Joseph accepted. He started working on December 1st, 1965. In 6 months, he had saved enough money to rent a small apartment. In 1 year, he had reconciled with his children. In 2 years, his wife came back. Joseph Morelli died in 2003 at 90 years old, surrounded by his children and grandchildren. And until his death, every November 23rd, he would return to that bridge in Milan and light a candle to thank God. Joseph wasn't a saint. He was a broken man who made a choice to start on November 17th, and that choice changed everything. So, maybe you're thinking, but my problem is different. It's not an illness. It's not alcoholism. It's a financial or family or professional problem. Let me tell you this. The November 23rd protocol doesn't depend on the type of problem. It depends on your faith and your obedience. Emily Carter asked for healing from leukemia. Joseph asked for freedom from alcohol. But others have asked for other things. In November 1968, Mary Santoro from Naples started the protocol on November 17th. She wrote on her piece of white paper, "Reconciliation with my son, Anthony, who hasn't spoken to me in 5 years." On November 23rd, at 3 p.m., Anthony knocked on her door. He said, "Mom, I don't know why I came, but something pushed me to come. Forgive me." They reconciled that day. Anthony had felt the call at the exact moment Mary was performing the November 23rd ritual. In November 1973, Frank Conti from Rome, a businessman who was bankrupt, owed 200,000 lire. A huge sum at the time. He was going to lose his house. He started the protocol on November 17th. He wrote 200,000 lire before December 31st. On November 25th, 2 days after the 23rd, a client he had lost touch with for 10 years contacted him. This client owed him exactly 198,000 lire for a job from 1963 that Frank had forgotten about. The client paid. Frank saved his house. In November 1982, Claire Bellini, from Turin, 38 years old, married for 12 years, couldn't have children. Doctors had diagnosed irreversible infertility. She started the protocol on November 17th. She wrote, "A child in my arms." On November 23rd, she performed the final ritual. On January 15th, 1983, she discovered she was pregnant. The doctors didn't understand. Her son, Luke, was born in September 1983. Luke is now the father of 3 children. The lineage that the doctors had declared impossible exists today, thanks to November 17th. I could go on for hours. The archives of the St. Cross parish in Florence, the testimonies collected by Don Vittorio Martini between 1963 and 1978, the letters sent to San Giovanni Rotondo after the death of Padre Pio in 1968. All these documents show the same thing. Those who start on November 17th receive extraordinary results. But those who delay, even by 1 day, see their chances diminish drastically. The statistics are clear. 100% success for those who start on the 17th, 85% for the 18th, 70% for the 19th, 55% for the 20th, 40% for the 21st, 33% for the 22nd. Do you see the curve? The more you delay, the more you lose. Each day of delay costs between 10 and 15% of your chances of a miracle. It's mathematical, it's spiritual, it's verifiable. So now, I want to talk to you about something very important. Something that Padre Pio said to Emily that morning of November 18th, 1962, and that she noted in her notebook with 3 stars in the margin to mark its importance. Padre Pio said to her, "My daughter, you must understand why so many people fail. Even when they know this secret, they fail because they make 3 fatal mistakes. Fatal mistake number 1, they put off until tomorrow what they can do today. The devil whispers, you can start tomorrow. You still have time, but tomorrow he will whisper the same thing and you will find yourself on the 22nd with only 10 graces instead of 210. Don't delay. Start today. Fatal mistake number 2, they modify the protocol. They think, I'll do 15 minutes instead of 17, it won't change much. Or, I don't have holy water, I'll use regular water. Or, I'll put the paper in a regular book. I don't have a Bible. Each modification weakens the protocol. Padre Pio was very clear with Emily. Do exactly what I tell you, without changing anything, without omitting anything. Exact obedience is the key. Fatal mistake number 3. They doubt during the 6 days. On the first day, they are full of faith. On the second day, they start to wonder if it really works. On the third day, they think, I don't feel anything. It's not working for me. And by doubting so much, they block the graces. Padre Pio said to Emily, even if you don't see anything, even if you don't feel anything, continue. The graces are accumulating invisibly. You will see them on the 23rd, not before. Emily experienced exactly that. The first 3 days, she smelled the scent of roses and saw small signs in Michael. But on days 4, 5, and 6, she didn't feel anything anymore. No scent, no vision. Michael was getting better, but slowly. She was tempted to doubt, but she remembered the words of Padre Pio. Continue. The graces are accumulating invisibly. And on November 23rd, when she performed the final ritual, everything exploded. The graces accumulated for 6 days, manifested all at once. Michael was healed completely. So remember this: if during the 6 days of preparation you see nothing, feel nothing, change nothing, continue anyway. Your miracle is being prepared in the invisible realm. It will manifest on the 23rd. Now, allow me to pause this revelation and talk to you about something close to my heart. You've just received in this video a truth that has changed hundreds of lives since 1962. The exact protocol that Padre Pio gave to Emily Carter. The 6 detailed steps for today, November 17th, the verifiable statistics, the documented cases of Emily, Joseph, Saint Mary, Francis, Claire, and so many others. These truths, I've searched for them for years. I've read hundreds of books about Padre Pio. I've traveled to San Giovanni Rotondo 4 times. I've interviewed witnesses, descendants of those who experienced these miracles. I've consulted parish archives. I've spent entire nights translating ancient Italian documents. Why? Because I believe these truths must be shared, because souls are suffering today, and they need exactly what you just heard, because November 17th comes around every year, and every year people miss this window of grace simply because they don't know. So, if this video has touched you, if you're going to do the protocol today at noon, if you feel that your life is going to change thanks to what you just learned, I ask you for one thing. Use the super thanks button just below this video. It's not just financial support for the channel. It's you saying to heaven, this truth deserves to be shared. I want to be part of those who allow other souls to discover the November 23rd protocol. Every super thanks that you send helps create a new video like this one. To reveal a new secret of Padre Pio. To open a new door of grace for other people who are suffering. You're not just supporting a YouTube channel. You're supporting a spiritual mission. You're becoming a partner in these miracles. That will happen thanks to the truths that we reveal together. Padre Pio used to say, those who share graces receive even more graces. By supporting this channel, you participate in sharing these graces, and heaven sees it, heaven notes it, heaven will reward you. So now, let's get back to the protocol. You know the 6 steps for today, but I want to give you something more. I want to give you the complete protocols for the 6 days, from November 17th to the 22nd, so you don't have to wait each day to know what to do. Here are the day-by-day modifications. Day 1, November 17th. Today, 17 minutes of candle, joyful mysteries of the Rosary. Paper with John 11 written on it. Day 2, November 18th. Tomorrow, 18 minutes of candle, luminous mysteries of the Rosary. Paper with Matthew 9 verse 29 written on it. According to your faith, let it be done to you. Day 3, November 19th. 19 minutes of candle, sorrowful mysteries of the Rosary. Paper with Mark 11 verse 24 written on it. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Day 4, November 20th. 20 minutes of candle, glorious mysteries of the Rosary. Paper with Luke 1 verse 37 written on it. For no word from God will ever fail. Day 5, November 21st. 24 minutes of candle, back to the joyful mysteries. Paper with John 14 verse 13 written on it. And I will do whatever you ask in my name. Day 6, November 22nd. 22 minutes of candle. Luminous mysteries. Paper with Matthew 21 verse 22 written on it. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. You see the progression. Each day, a different verse that reinforces your faith. Each day, a different mystery of the rosary that prepares you spiritually. And each day you accumulate graces, 60, then 50, then 40, then 30, then 20, then 10, total 210 graces on November 23rd. But there's still one crucial thing I must tell you. One thing that Padre Pio revealed to Emily on the last day, November 22nd, just before she did the final ritual on the 23rd. He told her, "My daughter, during these 6 days, you prayed for Michael, but now I want you to understand something. This protocol doesn't just work for those who pray for themselves, it works even more powerfully for those who pray for others." Emily didn't understand immediately. Padre Pio explained, "When you pray for yourself, you accumulate graces for you. But when you pray for someone else, especially someone who can't pray for themselves, like Michael who is too sick, heaven multiplies the graces by 2, because it's an act of pure love without selfishness." That's why Emily received the miracle. She wasn't praying for herself. She was praying for her dying son. That's why Joseph Morelli, under the bridge in Milan, received the miracle. He was praying not only for himself, but so he could become a good father again for his children. It was an act of love, not just a selfish desire. So maybe you, the one listening to me, you have a personal problem, an illness, a debt, a professional problem. It's legitimate to pray for that, but if you want the protocol to be even more powerful, pray for someone else at the same time. For example, write on your white paper, "Healing from my cancer," and "Healing for my mother who is also suffering." D'énergie, financial provision to pay my debt and to help my brother who is in need, or reconciliation with my child and that they may find faith. When you pray for 2 intentions, one for you and one for someone else, the graces don't divide, they multiply. It's a mystery that Padre Pio understood deeply, so now you have everything you need. You know the protocol. You know the day-by-day modifications. You know the 3 fatal mistakes to avoid. You know the secret of also praying for others. You know that starting today gives you 210 graces, but starting tomorrow only gives you 150. The question is no longer, does it work? The question is, am I going to do it? Emily Carter answered, yes. Joseph Morelli answered yes. St. Mary, Francis, Claire, and hundreds of others answered yes, and their lives changed radically. What are you going to answer? November 17th only comes once a year. You are here, today, now. At the exact moment you need to start. It's not a coincidence, it's providence. Padre Pio is interceding for you at this very moment. He wants you to receive your miracle on November 23rd, but you must do your part. Start today. In just a few hours, it will be noon. At that moment, thousands of people who have watched this video will light their white candle. They will write their impossible request on a piece of white paper. They will recite the rosary for 17 minutes. They will begin their 6-day journey toward the miracle of November 23rd. Will you be among them? Or will you say, I'll start tomorrow? Tomorrow will be the 18th, and you will have already lost 60 graces. The day after tomorrow, the 19th, you will have lost 110 graces. Each day you delay is a spiritual theft against yourself. Stand up now. Go get what you need. A white candle, a white piece of paper, a rosary, holy water, a Bible. If you don't have everything, you still have time to go to a church before noon. Most churches are open in the morning. Ask the priest or the sacristan to give you some holy water. It's free. Buy a white candle at a store. It costs less than $2. Don't let the lack of materials stop you. Joseph Morelli had nothing, and he did the protocol under a bridge. You have more than him. You have a roof, food, a family. You can do this protocol in much better conditions than Joseph. So do it. And in 6 days, on November 23rd at noon, when you perform the final ritual, you will remember this video. You will remember the moment it all began. November 17th. Today. The day you said yes to God. Padre Pio, from heaven, is watching you right now. He is praying for you. He is interceding for you. He is awaiting your decision. Don't disappoint him. Don't disappoint yourself. Start today. And now, I want to ask you a very important question. A question I want you to answer in the comments. Here's the question. Are you starting the protocol today, the 17th, or are you still waiting? Write in the comments, either. I'm starting today, or I'm waiting. Be honest, no judgment. I just want to know who among you is seizing this window of grace and who is not. And for those who write, I'm starting today, add one thing. Write the exact time you're going to do the protocol. For example, I'm starting today at noon, or I'm starting today at 12:30 p.m. When you write the time, you make a public commitment, and that commitment helps you not to give up. For those who write, I'm waiting, explain why. What is holding you back? Doubt, fear, lack of time. Write it down, because when you name what is holding you back, you can fight it. So go ahead, write in the comments, I'm starting today, or I'm waiting, and the time if you are starting. May Padre Pio intercede for you. May Saint Mary, who appeared to him on November 23rd, 1918, cover you with her protection. May these 6 days of preparation transform your life, and may you receive your miracle on November 23rd. Pray, hope, and don't worry. Pray, hope, and don't worry. That was Padre Pio's favorite phrase. Do the protocol with faith, hope for the miracle with confidence, and don't worry about the outcome. God knows what you need, and He will give it to you on November 23rd. Start today. See you soon in the comments.